forcing yourself to get it done. Break it down into small tasks, divide large tasks into smaller, manageable steps. This makes the task feel less overwhelming, allowing you to focus on completing one small step at a time, which builds momentum. Set clear deadlines and prioritize. Commit to a specific, realistic deadline for each task, even if it's a self-imposed one. Deadlines add a sense of urgency, and prioritizing ensures that you tackle the most important tasks first. Use the 5-minute rule. Start with the intention of working on the task for just 5 minutes. Often this helps overcome the mental block, and once you're started, it's easier to keep going. Eliminate distractions. Minimize or remove distractions in your environment, whether it's turning off notifications, setting up a quiet workspace, or using tools like focus apps. Fewer distractions make it easier to focus and get in the zone. Visualize the outcome and reward yourself. Imagine the sense of relief and accomplishment you'll feel after completing the task. Then set a small reward for when you finish, like a break, snack, or favorite activity, as motivation to reach the finish line. When faced with a large or complex task, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scope of what needs to be done. This often leads to procrastination or even giving up before you start. One effective way to tackle this feeling is by breaking down the task into smaller, manageable parts. By focusing on these smaller, more achievable goals, you can make steady progress without feeling the weight of the entire project. Start by identifying the main components of the task. For example, if you're writing a report, the process might involve researching, organizing your findings, outlining, drafting, revising, and proofreading. Each of these steps can then be divided further. Research could involve finding sources, taking notes, and summarizing key points, while drafting might include working on the introduction, body, and conclusion as separate sections. Once you've outlined these smaller parts, assign each one a realistic time frame. Instead of aiming to finish the entire report in a day, aim to complete a specific part, like outlining or drafting one section, within a set time limit. This creates a series of mini deadlines that guide your progress and prevent burnout, making the larger goal feel much more achievable. As you complete each small part, you build momentum. Each completed section gives you a small sense of accomplishment, which makes it easier to continue. Over time, the task becomes less intimidating because you can see tangible progress, reminding you that you're capable of handling it. Also, each small step can reveal insights or spark new ideas that improve the overall project. Breaking tasks into smaller steps also makes it easier to troubleshoot or make adjustments as needed. If you encounter challenges, you can focus on resolving issues within a specific part, rather than feeling as if the entire project is at a standstill. This keeps the project moving forward without letting obstacles become overwhelming. In this way, breaking tasks down not only makes the work feel manageable, but also creates a clear path toward completion, helping you stay focused and motivated. Setting clear deadlines and prioritizing tasks is an essential strategy for completing work efficiently, especially when faced with multiple responsibilities or projects. Without clear deadlines, tasks can start to pile up, leading to stress and a lack of focus. When you establish deadlines, even for tasks that don't have externally imposed due dates, you create a sense of urgency that encourages action and minimizes the risk of procrastination. Deadlines help transform vague plans into specific goals that you feel a stronger commitment to achieve within a set time frame. Begin by listing all the tasks you need to complete, along with any existing deadlines associated with them. Organize your list by considering the importance and urgency of each item, often using a prioritization method such as the Eisenhower matrix, which categorizes tasks by urgency and importance. Tasks that are both urgent and important should be tackled first, while less urgent tasks can be scheduled for later. This system prevents less critical work from taking up valuable time that could be spent on more pressing items. Having a prioritized list also makes it easier to stay on track throughout the day, as you'll know exactly what to focus on at any given moment. Once tasks are prioritized, assign a realistic deadline to each one. Try to set deadlines that are challenging but achievable. If a deadline feels too tight, it might lead to unnecessary stress, while deadlines that are too far out can lead to complacency. The goal is to find a balance that encourages you to move forward without feeling overwhelmed. For larger tasks, consider breaking the project into smaller steps and assigning mini deadlines for each step. For example, if your goal is to complete a presentation by Friday, you might aim to complete the research phase by Tuesday, the outline by Wednesday, and the slide creation by Thursday. These incremental deadlines provide structure and make the overall task feel more approachable. Additionally, setting deadlines for each step allows you to track your progress and adjust as necessary. If you miss a mini deadline, you can assess why and adjust your schedule accordingly, rather than scrambling to meet the final deadline at the last minute. Deadlines give you checkpoints along the way, so if something takes longer than expected, you can recalibrate before it affects the overall timeline. This process also helps build accountability. Even if you're working independently, adhering to your self-imposed deadlines cultivates discipline and a sense of commitment to your work. The 5-minute rule is a powerful technique for overcoming procrastination and getting started on tasks that may feel daunting or tedious. It's based on a simple commitment telling yourself you'll work on a task for just 5 minutes. The idea is that by setting such a short, manageable time frame, you reduce the psychological resistance to beginning the task. When you're faced with something that feels overwhelming, the hardest part is often just getting started, as the full scope of what you need to do can seem intimidating. By limiting your initial commitment to only 5 minutes, the task feels much more approachable, removing the mental barrier that often leads to avoidance. Once you begin, you'll often find that it's easier to keep going beyond those initial 5 minutes. This is because starting creates momentum. The first step shifts you from a passive to an active state, making the task seem less intimidating as you build engagement with the work. Many people discover that, after getting over the hurdle of starting, they feel compelled to continue because the initial resistance fades away. Often it's simply the anticipation of starting that is stressful rather than the task itself. The 5-minute rule turns this around by reframing the task as something brief and doable, giving you a manageable entry point. This technique works well for a variety of tasks, from tackling complex projects to managing daily chores. For example, if you need to write a report but feel unmotivated, committing to just 5 minutes of outlining or brainstorming can break the inertia. In many cases, 5 minutes is enough to spark an idea or clarify your direction, and before you know it, you're involved in the writing process. Or if you need to clean your workspace but keep putting it off, you might tell yourself you'll start by organizing one drawer or one part of the desk. The act of getting started often reveals that the task isn't as hard or time-consuming as it initially appeared. Even if you stop after the 5 minutes, you've made progress. Those small actions accumulate over time, making the task feel less burdensome with each step. Let's say you apply the 5-minute rule to a large project each day for a week. Even if you only put in 5 minutes a day, that's 35 minutes of work completed enough to make a noticeable dent. And in many cases, you'll find that you end up working longer than planned, adding up to significantly more progress. Eliminating distractions is a crucial strategy for improving focus, productivity, and the quality of work, particularly in today's environment where distractions are constantly competing for our attention. Distractions come in many forms, from obvious sources like mobile phones and social media notifications to more subtle ones, such as background noise, cluttered workspaces, and even internal distractions like wandering thoughts. Addressing these distractions systematically can help create an environment where you're able to work deeply and efficiently, achieving a state of flow that's hard to reach when interruptions are frequent. One of the most common distractions is technology, especially notifications from phones, computers, and other devices. Every time a notification chimes or vibrates, it breaks your concentration, and refocusing after each interruption can be mentally taxing. Studies show that it can take up to 25 minutes to fully regain focus after being distracted. A simple yet effective strategy is to turn off non-essential notifications when you're working. Many phones and computers have Do Not Disturb or focus mode. Settings that can be scheduled during your work hours, silencing unnecessary notifications while allowing essential calls or messages through. Another helpful step is to log out of or disable access to social media platforms or any distracting websites during work sessions. Browser extensions like Stay Focused or Freedom can block access to these sites temporarily, removing the temptation to check them just for a minute, which often turns into much longer. Creating a dedicated workspace is another powerful way to minimize distractions. When you set up a specific area just for work, whether it's an office or a quiet corner in your home, you're establishing a boundary between your work and personal life. This designated space mentally signals that it's time to focus. Ideally, your workspace should be clean, organized, and stocked with everything you need to complete your tasks. Visual clutter can be surprisingly distracting, as a messy workspace often leads to a scattered mind. Keep only necessary items on your desk and arrange them in a way that makes tools and resources easily accessible. This helps reduce the urge to leave your workspace to look for items, which can lead to distractions. Sound is another common distraction, particularly in shared spaces or busy environments. Investing in noise-canceling headphones or playing background music that doesn't have lyrics, such as instrumental or ambient music, can help create a sound barrier that minimizes external noise and allows you to focus better. If music is distracting, white noise machines or apps can also be effective in drowning out background sounds. Some people also find that sound-canceling earmuffs work well for creating a quiet environment, especially in shared or open-plan spaces. Visualizing the outcome and rewarding yourself are powerful techniques for building motivation, maintaining focus, and enhancing productivity. Together, these methods create a positive reinforcement loop that helps you stay committed to tasks, especially when they are lengthy, challenging, or require sustained effort. Visualization taps into the brain's ability to imagine future rewards and generates a sense of excitement and motivation, while setting up a reward system encourages you to complete each step by associating progress with a tangible benefit. Both techniques are effective tools for managing larger goals by keeping motivation high and providing milestones along the way. To make visualization most effective, focus on sensory details and emotional benefits. For instance, if you're working toward completing a major project, imagine the scene in detail, the feeling of finally submitting it, the relaxation of being done, the praise you might receive, or the impact it could have on your goals. Visualize not only what success looks like, but also how it feels. This emotional connection to the desired outcome makes the task more appealing and can make it easier to handle tough or tedious parts of the work as you're reminded of the payoff at the end. Practicing this regularly helps you maintain motivation even during difficult or repetitive parts of the task, as your brain begins to associate the work with positive feelings. Setting up a reward system complements visualization by offering immediate incentives for completing each stage of a task. While visualizing helps maintain long-term motivation, rewards provide short-term boosts that reinforce each step you complete. Rewards don't have to be extravagant. They can be as simple as taking a short break, enjoying a snack, or spending a few minutes on a favorite activity. The key is to choose rewards that genuinely feel enjoyable to you so that they provide a sense of satisfaction. For example, if you finish a section of a report, you could treat yourself to a walk outside, a few minutes of reading something enjoyable, or a cup of your favorite coffee. These small but meaningful rewards give your brain something to look forward to after each task, breaking up long projects and making each milestone feel rewarding.